It's Sunday morning on CBS, and here again is Charles Osgood.
Hold On was a big hit for Sam and Dave back in 1966. It came straight out of Soulsville, USA. You're not quite sure where to find Soulsville on your map? Don't worry, our Russ Mitchell can show you.
Perched on a bluff overlooking the Mississippi sits Memphis. Musicians have long gravitated here, bringing from their fields, churches, and kitchens their songs. Aretha Franklin was born here. W.C. Handy, father of the blues, once called Memphis home. So did Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll. And then there was Stax, the little music label that could and did create some of the most memorable sounds of the 60s and 70s. But its history was overlooked until a few years ago, when the city of Memphis, looking to reclaim an important part of its cultural past, opened a museum. And threw a party to welcome soul back home. But before all this, there was the music.
What you want, honey, you got it. I better knock on wood.
I want a girl.
It was 1960. Jim Stewart, a country fiddler, and his sister, Estelle Axton, moved their fledgling record company to an abandoned movie theater at 926 East McLemore in Memphis. Here, they would build a recording studio and record store. And using the first two letters of their last names, Stewart and Axton, they would call their new label Stax. Soulsville USA was born.
Each step I take brings me closer to you.
It was a rare opportunity, an opportunity that most people would only have once in a lifetime, and certainly that was the case with me.
Former Stax employee Deanie Parker was there almost from the first.
The Soulsville USA neighborhood at that time was a neighborhood that was transitioning, and this was becoming a predominantly African-American neighborhood. By virtue of their having established a business in this area, they then had access to an untapped resource for some of the greatest undiscovered talent that has ever lived.
Baby, I've got you on my mind. Keep me singing all the time.
Neighborhood teens like Deanie Parker would walk through the studio's open door, hoping for a chance at fame.
You came here to be a star.
Yes.
That was your goal. You were going to be a star.
My goal was to be a star.
What was the first song you put out?
You're going to get me, aren't you?
I'm going to get you on this one.
All these years I've evaded this, but the first song that I recorded along with the Valadors was My Imaginary Guy.
Which you wrote.
Which I wrote.
Don't have to have a twinkle in his eye. He'll always tell the truth and he'll never lie.
Parker never did find stardom. Others, however, would.
I better knock on wood.
Stax would assemble an array of talent that created the blueprint of a Southern sound. A potent mix of gospel, blues, jazz, and country. A signature sound, often confused with its more successful northern cousin, Motown. Isaac Hayes.
In the north, there was Motown. They had a slick, polished sound. When you go below the Mason-Dixon line, down south, by the soul, the raw sound. It was ours.
Who's the black private dick that's a sex machine to all the chicks?
It was a sound that soon would belong to all of us. Empathetic, prideful. The music paralleled the struggles of its turbulent time. Writer Peter Goralnik has written about the Stax history in his book, Sweet Soul Music.
It's a remarkable, remarkable story that you should have this musical integration in Memphis at a time of almost total social segregation.
I remember when I first walked through these doors of Stax, how inspired I was.
Former label executive Al Bell.
To define what was going on in Stax at that time, one would have to walk into Studio A and see two white guys and two black guys that made up a rhythm section called Booker T and the MGs. And then to look into the control room and see this white guy who's kind of short and recognize that he had been a country fiddle player and hear all of this funk and all of this soulful, passionate music coming from these people.
Somehow we all knew what the goal was that we wanted.
Stax artists Booker T and the MGs.
We knew we wanted it to be simple, we knew we wanted it to be funky, and we knew we wanted to have a good time doing it, and and we knew we were willing to work hard.
Sitting in the morning sun.
Stax's 15-year history was punctuated by plenty of highs and lows.
Watching the ships roll in.
But by 1975, a series of legal and financial reverses led to the label's demise. The Soulsville community lost an important anchor. It and the Stax legacy fell to neglect.
As we look around this neighborhood, we see a lot of different things right now. This house, obviously, boarded up.
Abandoned and boarded up.
But
yes.
Deanie Parker's love for Stax only grew stronger. And almost 20 years after the company closed, a Memphis group approached her about helping to bring Stax back to life.
I have a vision for what I think Stax Records, how it should be glorified, if you will.
And what was that vision?
That it should be a museum.
Not just any museum, a full restoration of the original Stax complex with an added educational component. The idea? To build economic opportunity around musical heritage. And the name, Soulsville USA. Its president, Deanie Parker.
We're very excited about helping to create a new generation of top-notch musicians and writers and engineers and others.
The museum journeys through Soul's rich history, in the process displaying many of the more than 800 singles released at Stax. And there's this. Isaac Hayes' gold-trimmed Cadillac.
You used to drive around in this?
A little bit.
Got all this gold on it, got the sunroof, got the television, got the refrigerator back here, but this is my favorite part.
Oh, this right here?
Right here. And the name.
Oh, yeah.
Isaac Hayes. In case anybody didn't know.
I forgot about this.
But if the museum is a drive down memory lane, right next door, Soulsville looks to the future. The real jewel of this $20 million project, the Stax Music Academy.
Here we go.
Here, children learn about music's ability to transform and change a neighborhood and young lives, one voice at a time.
For me, it's a dream come true.
Academy Director Mark Willis.
We're trying to raise some kids through music. I want them in the building as much as they can stand to be in here. We want them here every day. I want to know them. I want them to know the staff. They want to come to a place that's safe, that they can trust, and frankly, where adults do what they say they're going to do. When we think about this community and the needs of this community and the resources, and getting a kid on the right path and making the right decisions, we're going to save a couple of lives.
What do you hope the kids who come in here take away from this experience?
I just, I find it very difficult to tell you everything without becoming emotional in terms of what this place means for children, you know, what it can be for children. What I really hope is that this museum and the Academy will do the same thing for the children today that Stax Records did for us when we were youngsters.